The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is in Tulsa to show off some rare artifacts. The exhibit features more than 150 original artifacts, including some signed by Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Booker T. Washington, even Michael Jackson. Actress Hayley Norman, who's best known for the film Hancock, made an appearance.
Things that is so shocking for us to see in our lifetime. Like there is an old KKK hood here and shackles.
The stop was part of the Greenwood Cultural Center's community education series.
Today, it's such an honor to be here. I'm going to start by showing you guys this McDonald's ad from 1976. It's probably a little bit hard for all of you to see, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Do your dinner timing at McDonald's. When you're looking for a different place to have dinner, check out McDonald's. You don't have to get dressed up, there's no tipping, and the kids love it. You can relax and get down with good food that won't keep you waiting. Dinner timing or any timing, going out is easy at McDonald's." So obviously this is a very offensive ad from 1976. They did, the classic dropping the G's at the end of words because they think that it appeals to us. There's the idea that Black people don't like to or can't get dressed up, that we don't tip. And this is a real script I had from an audition in 2016. So that was 1976. What I'm about to read you is from 2016. The commercial goes, "Insight. Black people often find unique and entertaining ways to express themselves, especially when the item they're describing is just way too good for a simple explanation." And these are a few of the lines from it. "Too hot, yes. 2 sets of won't he do it. 2 orders of dang Gina, alt line, 1 slay, and 1 work. Actually, ladies, I got too hot, put some respect on it." And they didn't even spell respect right, obviously. So these 2 ads, 40 plus years apart from one another, do a great job illustrating the progression of representation of minorities, specifically Black people in media. And that is that there has been no significant progress at all. Who cares? Does it really matter? It's just an ad. Chill out. Apathy is the child of privilege. And as a person of color, I don't have that privilege. And as a woman whose livelihood depends on the media that's being produced, I don't have the luxury, financially or otherwise, of being able to take these issues with a grain of salt. I'm here today to illuminate the intersection of media resulting in violence towards Blacks, to share my personal experience as both a woman and person of color in entertainment, and to hold Hollywood and mainstream media accountable for pushing stereotypes alongside its dollar menus. This is my second time speaking as part of the Black History Mobile Museum exhibit. I had the honor of giving another speech last year at Northeastern University. But this year is different. I knew that I couldn't just reuse and recycle my speech from last time. Because last year, when I gave my speech, Donald Trump wasn't president. The notoriously racist Jeff Sessions wasn't Attorney General, and Breitbart's very own Steve Bannon wasn't the White House chief strategist. And yet I'd venture to say that not a single Black person woke up the morning after Election Day shocked that a man who aligns himself with white supremacy groups and a candidate lauded by the KKK would be handed the keys to the job regarded as the most powerful position in the world. On November 9th, 2017, it came as no surprise to any non-white person or woman that racism and sexism not only still existed, but was flourishing. Our nation's racism and prejudice has merely been brought to the forefront, and we could no longer hide under the misguided lies of being post-racial, which is something they like to tell you all the time in Hollywood. And yet, I labored over what I would say today. It wasn't easier being an actress before Trump took office, but all the racism, casual and otherwise, microaggressions, and gross regurgitated stereotypes that make up our media must hold themselves accountable for their role in our dismal political and racial climate. Ads like the ones I read above plague our media, and they matter even more now because of who is in our White House and how that will affect our daily interactions with police, lawmakers, and others. Our society is set up so that we tend to live in bubbles, right? I don't know the exact numbers, but I'd venture to say that quite a few Americans out there don't know people who have different experiences than themselves. Living in Los Angeles, almost everyone I know moved there from someplace else, from a smaller town. So I have several white friends who told me that they never had deep, significant, and symbiotic relationships with Black, Hispanic, Indian, or Asian people growing up. And their families still don't. So when all they see on TV is Black people in positions of service, or as law-breaking thugs and prostitutes, or as table-flipping basketball wives, they begin to think that this is all Black people are. The woman on the elevator grips her purse a little tighter when a Black man gets on her, crosses the street when she sees a Black man at night, because the TV shows we watch tell us that Blackness is synonymous with bad. When they have a positive interaction with a person of color, they're merely considered one of the good ones. We have largely not been given the opportunities to tell our stories, to play fully feeling, empathetic, and human characters. We've been relegated to the sassy best friend or the help. This is Hollywood's very lazy way of claiming diversity while using us as props to further the white protagonist storyline. We are underrepresented in every form of media except for the news, where the focus is inordinately on crimes committed by people of color. This has to change, and it has to change now. Proper representation is a matter of life or death. Representation, or the lack thereof, is the reason why Tulsa's own Terrence Crutcher, an unarmed Black man whose car broke down, was killed by police with his hands in the air for looking like a, quote, bad dude. The police officer didn't know Crutcher personally, but he sure thought he knew the type. The media that we are inundated with taught that officer that men who look like Crutcher are nothing more than bad dudes to be feared. The pervasiveness of the dangerous Black man stereotype got an unarmed man with a broken down car killed. I am part of an industry that influences the entire world, and it has to be held responsible for that. Hollywood is an industry that chases trends. It regularly discards peoples and ideas for the next hot new thing. And while there have been a few more shows and movies in the last couple years that do have positive representations of people of color, diversity must not be a trend. It must not be something that an executive pats themselves on the back for, thinking his or her job is done. And it must last longer than a season of a TV show. We cannot gaslight ourselves and others into thinking that because Moonlight won a very well-deserved Best Picture Oscar, that all of a sudden racism in Hollywood is solved. It's not that easy of a fix. A few projects breaking through cannot be used as smoke and mirrors to make us forget about a larger problem that very much still exists. I personally started my modeling career at 7 years old after being discovered by Cindy Crawford. That's my dad's story. To be honest, there's still a part of me that wonders, did Cindy Crawford really discover me? It's on my Wikipedia though, because my dad swears it's true. So, shortly after, I became the face of the African-American Barbie doll, and I spent several years modeling their ethnic toys and dolls. Years later, I came to public attention after being hired as a briefcase model and co-host on NBC's popular show, Deal or No Deal. I wore my hair in my natural hairstyle, like as you see now, at a time when no one else was wearing their hair like this on network television. My hair was its own character on the show, so much so that an entire episode was written about it called The Fro Show. I received countless fan letters from people all over the world, relieved that there was finally a more inclusive representation of Black Americans on TV. But for every fun anecdote like these, there are many more painful ones for myself and other actors of color. I acknowledge that being a lighter-skinned Black woman comes with its own set of privileges that my dark-skinned counterparts don't benefit from, but I'd still like to share some of my personal experiences. Because if any of you listening are interested in entering the entertainment industry or know anyone who is, when these things happen to you, because they will, you'll think of me and know that you're not alone. If I can do it, you certainly can as well. A lot of the stories revolve around my hair because I've worn my hair natural my whole career, and that's intentional. I want to own all the things that make me me, so that there will never have to be another girl growing up who feels like she's not beautiful or worthy because she doesn't see herself on TV. I want to stand up for all the people who are told that their natural beauty isn't good enough. So these are some of my personal stories I've had. I was one time up for a movie, and I was the first choice for it, and I was really excited about doing it because I was going to get to go to Canada, and it was going to be my first time going to Canada. So I'm sure you can imagine my heartbreak when I got a call that I didn't get the job because the white director decided I looked like Macy Gray. I obviously look absolutely nothing like Macy Gray. I knew that this white director only saw my hair, and he only saw the color of my skin, and that's all I was to him. And the only other Black person he could think of was Macy Gray, and so that's why I didn't get the role. The role was for the job of a lawyer, and so what they told me was because I wear my hair the way God made me, that I'm not capable of being a lawyer. Something similarly happened actually later in Vancouver. I ended up getting to go to Canada several years later to shoot a TV show, and this time I had my hair in braids. And the hair person was like, I'm really confused. Your character is supposed to be like a smart, A-type, top of her class character, but your hair is braided. She tried to tell me that intelligence was dictated on the way someone wears their hair. Right? But we all know that when the Kardashians or other people braid their hair, it's in vogue and they're given credit for it. By the way, if you guys think that I'm silent when people say these things to me, I never am. I always stand up for myself. And then I have to then be the angry Black lady on set, which is such an unfortunate position to be in, right? It's such a burden where you go, do I stand up for myself or do I just have to be quiet and go along with what they're saying? I've never been one to choose the path of least resistance. Sometimes I wish that was in my personality, but it's not. So every time these situations happen, I stand up for myself. And then I go, oh great, they're gonna think I'm an angry Black lady. So you're trying to, it's just, it's tiring. I did another commercial just last year for a major car company, and I was told, they kept trying to cover my hair with a beanie, and I was like, I don't understand why you're trying to put a beanie on my hair, and the beanie looks stupid, and my hair is big, like a beanie barely fits on my hair. And finally they came to me and were like, we're just worried that your hair is too puffy. And I was like, no, my hair is not too puffy, I'm just not a white person. You hired a Black person for the job. This is the way my hair looks. Why are you going to cover the most ethnic thing about me? They also tried to do it to another Black person in the commercial, and then as soon as I started letting on to what was really happening, they literally looked at their phone and were like, oh, they just said it's okay. You can wear your hair like that. So I got my way. I am routinely called the ethnic option, which is another term that I guess people don't realize how offensive that is. But because I've been doing this for a long time and I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I've had success, I'm often auditioning for the leads in TV shows and the leads in movies. Oftentimes, those are the roles that go to white actresses and not people of color. And so I'll get a call that's like, they really like you for it. You're the ethnic option. So that means if they decide to not go white, because white is always right, then maybe I have a chance at the job. Another audition that I had